After winning the primary,
I would have preferred Jasmine Crockett.
Democratic Senate candidate James Talarico is still fighting.
There's that fear that those who supported Crockett in March may decide to stay home in November.
That's unfortunate.
We examine the challenge Talarico is facing in his Senate bid. And despite outcry from neighbors about power and water worries,
here is an opportunity for billions, not millions of dollars to come to the state of Texas.
The state leader highlighting the possibilities that come from data centers.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Texas lawmakers are taking a closer look at tax breaks for data centers. In Texas, 138 data centers have been granted special sales tax exemptions, with 5 more pending approval. Before 2021, there were only 10. State officials now estimate the incentive program could cost about $3.3 billion in foregone tax revenue across 2028 and 2029. Now lawmakers are asking whether a tax break created more than a decade ago still makes sense. State Capitol correspondent Adam Schwager reports.
And now, with everything that's changed, the exemptions are in the billions of dollars.
In 2013 and 2015, the Texas legislature gave special tax breaks to data centers. To qualify for the most incentives, a project has to be at least 250,000 square feet, create 40 full-time jobs, and have at least $500 million of capital investment. If they don't meet those requirements, they have to give their tax breaks back.
Just for one of them, there is a back assessment for almost $5.6 million on sales tax exemptions that they had taken that they will be paying.
Data center developers have 5 years to meet those goals, and the Comptroller's Office can't audit them until those 5 years have expired. Of the 20 that have been eligible for audit, 6 haven't met the requirements, leaving some lawmakers feeling like the whole process is this.
Is it just check, check, check? We trust them, check, check, check. Go down the list, check, 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 check. And here you go. Here's your certification for millions of dollars from the state of Texas.
The data center industry argues the economic benefits they bring more than offset the incentives given.
According to the latest PwC economic impact study, the data center industry contributed $65.8 billion to Texas GDP in 2024.
However, lawmakers wonder if those data centers would come anyway.
To operate regardless of whether we give them an exemption in Texas or not. Because that's just my humble opinion.
For State of Texas, I'm Adam Schwager.
Data center sales tax incentives have become a key debate in the Texas gubernatorial race. Last month, Governor Greg Abbott pledged to work with the legislature to, quote, repeal sales tax exemptions and other outdated or unnecessary incentives for data centers. His Democratic opponent, State Representative Gina Hinojosa, previously told Nexstar, quote, Abbott has no credibility when it comes to reining in the data centers. The reason why they're all here is because he invited them. Abbott signed one of the 2 tax incentives into law. The pushback for data centers continues to make headlines, but there is some support. State Capitol correspondent Adam Schwager spoke to Railroad Commissioner Wayne Christian. The agency regulates the state's oil and gas industry and has oversight over Texas energy industries and enforces related state and federal laws. Here's a piece of their conversation.
One of the unique things about you, at least at this political moment in time, is you're one of the few statewide elected officials who is still pounding the drum about why data centers and data center proliferation in Texas is a good thing. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen in the transformation of the data center narrative that we've had over the last year.
Well, I don't say they are a good thing. I say they should be a good thing. We need a Texas plan. And I support the legislative hearings that are now going on over at the Capitol. They're looking at this and saying, okay, here's what we need to do. I support that, presenting Texas a plan. And you look at something that says, okay, we can bring billions of dollars in. It'll do billions of dollars worth of taxes and jobs over the next few years. And what a difference that would make in rural Texas, which right now is dying away.
Well, Texas Railroad Commissioner Wayne Christian, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
With more data centers and booming populations, the demand for energy will keep going up. State senators brought it up at a hearing at the Capitol, and a lot of people showed up. Lawmakers discussed how the demand could double in the next 6 years. Texas set a record high energy demand in July, needing over 91 gigawatts of energy to fuel the Lone Star State. The CEO of ERCOT, the state grid operator, told lawmakers peak demand could nearly double last week's record by 2032.
The ease at which we got through last week's peaks would not be the way I would characterize the future in 2 to 3 years. I think it'd be much more difficult.
ERCOT's preliminary forecast shows nearly 94% of proposed large load growth comes from data center projects.
You got major cracks along this far wall right here.
A structural issue found in thousands of Texas pools is making it hard to hold water. The Texas area known as the nation's hotspot for concrete cancer. Concerns of low voter turnout among black voters in the Texas Senate race.
I've seen not one who says that they're just gonna check the box for him.
We head north to a part of Texas known to vote Democrat, where some are considering staying home this election season. Democratic U.S. Senate hopeful James Talarico hosted 2 town halls with black communities in Dallas and Houston in July. They're a block of voters Talarico will need if he hopes to flip a statewide office blue for the first time in 30 years. Some of Talarico's black colleagues in the Texas House of Representatives have said publicly those votes are not guaranteed, especially the more than 1 million voters who chose Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in the March primary. State Capitol correspondent Dylan McKim traveled to Nana's Kitchen in East Fort Worth. He spoke with a Crockett supporter who is not sold on Talarico just yet.
We're at Nana's Kitchen here in East Fort Worth. 7 months ago, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett held a campaign event right here, where she was welcomed with open arms by Nana herself.
I like the fact that she took the time to come down to a small mom and pop like my establishment and actually ask the questions that were important to me. Y'all gonna dine in?
After hosting Crockett, Tasha Nana Ramsey turned her business into a hub for Crockett's yard signs and voter outreach.
Any voters over here?
The precinct where Nana's Kitchen is located was considered Crockett country. She received 697 Democratic votes in the March primary there, compared to Talarico's 235. The Republican candidate, Ken Paxton, received only 80 votes in the same precinct. Talarico has a Democrat's advantage to pick up more votes in these types of communities, but Nana says many may simply stay home in November.
None of the people that I talk to feel like he's our candidate. I've seen not one who says that they're just gonna check the box for him.
You have the power to change it.
Since his win, Talarico has been hosting town halls, visiting churches and historically black colleges, and meeting with black community leaders.
I don't feel as though people have taken a chance to get to know James and look at his voting record.
He's also receiving support from some Democratic colleagues in the Texas House, like Christian Manuel, who originally supported Crockett. Manuel's advice for Talarico is simple.
Just show up and listen.
Ask them, what do they want? What do they expect out of a candidate? He has to be concerned about what their concerns are.
Historically, black voters have swayed Democratic in Texas. In the 2024 Senate race, 84% of black voters supported the Democratic candidate, while only 12% supported the Republican candidate. Reporting in Fort Worth, I'm Dylan McKim.
Dylan joins us now. You mentioned that historically the majority of black voters tend to vote Democrat. Why do voters feel James Talarico is not their candidate?
Yeah, just to provide some proof here of that Democrats hold an advantage over black voters here in Texas. A few polls have already been released that look at likely black voters. Fox News released a poll this week that said of likely black voters, 87% said they'd vote for Talarico over Paxton. And then last month in a New York Times Siena poll, 80% said that they would vote for Talarico over Paxton. So of course he has this advantage. The real question comes is, are these voters going to show up in November in support for Talarico? When you ask the question, what do these voters, they say that, at least when we're talking about Jasmine Crockett voters, that they don't view Talarico as their candidate. I think a lot of it comes down, Josh, to them not fully understanding his resume or just have a firm grasp of his record as a politician, as a legislator in the Texas legislature. For example, I spoke to that woman that we saw, the restaurant owner in Fort Worth, and she told me she likes Jasmine so much, Congresswoman Crockett, because of her ability to go and fight for a cause. I mean, she makes those viral clips where you see her in committee hearings, and she's ready to pick a fight, and she's ready to stand up for what she believes in. They like that about her. Now, from having a close eye on the Texas legislature, we know that James Talarico is usually the first one at the back mic of the Texas House of Representatives when an issue on education is coming up or of healthcare. He's always back there to ask questions, to challenge bills such as putting the 10 Commandments in classrooms, to challenge the Texas Education Freedom Accounts. So he is what would some consider a fighter. He did fight back against these Republican policies, but people just haven't seen that and maybe haven't taken the time to actually do the research to see him.
I know you also spoke with Democratic State Representative Sinfronia Thompson from Houston. She's the longest serving African-American woman legislator in Texas history. What was her message to voters who are thinking of staying home this election?
She has told me that she believes James Talarico is someone that she can trust to pick up the baton and finish the race here and fight for what Democratic Texans, for Texans all over, will believe in. What she has said, and what I hope that all of our legislators, lawmakers in the state say, is that people at least go out to vote. Don't let this sort of loss, if your candidate, the one that you wanted to win in March, did not prevail, don't let that, out of spite, not go vote in November. Because there still are issues on the table. She talked to us about it. We have a little soundbite I want to play for our guests here to show what she was saying about the idea of maybe some people not showing up in November to vote.
And I'm concerned about everyday life issues that impact our people. And I don't want to pick up my marbles and go home, but I want to be able to take my marbles and put them in a little pot with everybody else and see whether or not that we can bring some benefits to everybody in Texas. Black, brown, white, yellow, purple, whatever nationality they may be. And to make this a great state that it is, and to keep it as a great state, and to keep improving in our state in every capacity that we possibly can to make life a better place in which to live. I would like to say that voting is very important. It is the one power that we have in this country. And I'm hoping that those persons who are upset because their candidate didn't win would think about it again and think about it more objectively.
I think we have to mention, it is so important for people just to go out and vote, whether it's for Ken Paxton, whether it is for James Talarico. Make sure that you do have your voice heard. As Ms. Thompson said, don't pick up your marbles and go home.
All right, Dylan McKim, thanks for the insight. It's called concrete cancer, and it's affecting thousands of pools in Texas. The lawsuits and legislation to address the problem. During the hot summer days, the pool sounds great, but some Texans say spider web-like cracks have turned their pools into holes in the ground. Now we are learning for the first time about the scale of damage caused by concrete cancer. One industry association says the defect has crumbled as many as 30,000 pools across Central Texas built since 2017, causing billions of dollars in damage. As investigator Arzo Dost explains, this isn't just impacting homeowners, but also neighborhood community pools.
Oh, this place in the summer would be hopping. It would be very noisy, very lively, very exciting place to be. Today, we can hear the birds chirping.
Brett Lagrone planned to spend his summer afternoons at the Carlson Place community pool with his daughters. That was before it was drained last winter and never refilled.
You know, it's a bummer. It's really, it's disappointing.
Lagrone says he was told by his homeowners association, managed by Goodwin and Company, the pool has concrete cancer.
You got major cracks along this far wall right here.
Known as alkali-silica reaction, or ASR, a chemical reaction that occurs within concrete, causing it to expand and crack until it can no longer hold water.
That far edge there, you've got cracks.
What has the HOA told you?
They've told me that they can either get a loan to fix it, and that cost would be passed down to us, $10 a month maybe.
Lagrone shared an update on the community's management app from the board of directors in June, which says it's exploring financial options, including securing a loan to fund the reconstruction of the pool, but will continue taking legal steps to potentially recover damages from Pulte, the developer of the community, and other responsible parties. The HOA and its management company wouldn't speak with KXAN about the pool, telling us it has no comment. A spokesperson with Pulte says in an email, the pool and responsibility for its maintenance were turned over to the HOA in 2024, and that Pulte recently received information from the HOA regarding the pool and is reviewing it.
Certain markets use certain material.
Industry experts with the Central Texas Pool and Hot Tub Alliance believe the Austin area is the nation's hotspot for ASR problems found in pools built from 2017 and on.
I would say it could be as much as, 30,000 pools potentially, not just Austin, but the greater area, Central Texas area around Austin.
John McIntyre, who is a licensed engineer and ASR educator, says there is no fix for concrete cancer. He adds the only solution is rip out the pool and replace it with a new one. The cost?
What we're seeing is anywhere from cheapest, I would say, is $150,000, $175,000 on up to $500,000.
McIntyre says the pools with the defect may have lacked a key ingredient in the concrete mixture called fly ash, a cement-like material produced by burning coal. He says the lack of fly ash and increased pool construction across the area made the material harder for suppliers to get. Would they have known that it was missing?
Maybe not. It depends on some of them. The distributors did not really mention, that there was now a different formulation coming out.
And right now, there's only one Class F fly ash producer in the state. There was several dozens, and now it's down to one. And so the cost of fly ash is very expensive.
Do you guys think more regulation is needed?
I think it's more education than legislation.
But State Representative Vicki Goodwin thinks Texas needs regulation.
We can prevent this kind of thing from happening.
Last legislative session, Goodwin tried to pass legislation which would have directed the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality to establish concrete quality standards and required companies selling materials list ingredients. The bills didn't make it far after filing. Goodwin, who's now the Democratic nominee for lieutenant governor in November's general election, hopes another lawmaker will pick up the bills next session.
It is consumer protection, and we need to make sure that we're regulating well to protect people when they're investing so much money in their homes.
Besides ongoing lawsuits against companies alleging defects in concrete use, Texans have started filing complaints with the Texas Office of the Attorney General. Since March 2024, records we obtained shows that there's been more than a dozen complaints filed against pool companies and concrete suppliers, all mentioning ASR. Some have even turned to the Texas Department of Insurance for help, hoping homeowners insurance would cover the cost of damages. TDI says it has received 3 complaints since March about the issue. Records we obtained show TDI didn't find any violations of state insurance law or regulation.
Seeing it just dry and drained is disheartening.
Lagrone says he hopes there's a solution soon for his neighborhood pool.
I'm just looking for a path forward. I'm looking to get the issue resolved. I'm looking to give my kids a fun summer.
He says that likely won't be this summer. Arzo Dost for State of Texas.
Experts say it can take 2 to 5 years for concrete cancer to show up, and it normally first appears in the spa due to temperature changes. If you're building a pool, ask your builder who the material suppliers are and get a list of ingredients being used and whether they have had any ASR problems. If you have ASR, there are some temporary measures that can help, but it's not a cure, including spraying a rubberized coating onto the pool. We reached out to Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick for his perspective, who's running against Goodwin. He has not provided one yet.
So if we go into the black zone, it'll let them know. It'll give them the requirements of what they can do and what can't they do.
The new statewide heat safety rules as football and band practices ramp up. There's now a statewide requirement meant to protect Texas students from heat dangers. New UIL rules went into effect August 1st. The wet bulb globe temperature mandate comes at the start of outdoor band and football practices. This new protocol takes into account temperature, humidity, wind speed, sun angle, and solar radiation readings. If the reading is too high, the body can no longer cool itself. A South Texas high school coach in Harlingen says vigilance is also important.
We have to make sure that they are safe by monitoring them, how bad they're sweating, just certain kind of signs and symptoms that they have, just to be prepared. I know I have at least 20 student athletic trainers that are my eyes and ears out there. So I can't pay attention to 100 kids out there. So I have them, like I have this student that's not doing too well.
This new rule requires readings to be taken within 15 minutes before the start of outdoor activity and every 30 minutes throughout practice or workouts. Thank you again for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.